Hello and welcome everyone to our first drawing session for 2025, and I am so excited to have so many people live. And I just realized that we have probably maxed out my Zoom account, so anyone who did not get in, I apologize, and I hope you're going to enjoy this recording. That's recording now, so for anyone that's here live, I'm recording right now. Okay, so we will today envision our year with Neurographica. Now I'm going to just do a 2-minute introduction to what is Neurographica and who am I. Just for anyone who has not been with me, I think like most of the people here, they have probably been with me somewhere, somehow, but just in case. Neurographica is a transformational drawing practice that was created by a wonderful man with the name of Pavel Piskaryov, who's a Russian psychologist, and he combined principles of psychology or ideas from psychology and drawing to create a method that allows us to influence our own thinking with the help of drawing. And the principle behind this is the principle of neuroplasticity that says that we can train our neurons to go in different ways. The drawing itself looks a little bit like neurons too. So anyone who has probably seen it, you always see the connections there. And this is what we intentionally do. We build new connections with the help of drawing. Another part that I find very, very important, and that I know also Pavel is very focused on, is that we self-reflect in the process. I call that self-observation, so we're going to do that. I'm going to remind you to check in with yourself. And for anyone who does not know me, my name is Antje Howard. I am a Neurographica instructor, amongst other things, and I have been working with this method since 2020, and I'm very, very passionate about it, and I'm very excited to bring this to the world. So yeah, today we're going to look at the year. For anyone who knows how I work though, before we start, we're going to check in with ourselves. So we're going to start with going inward, and then we're going to bring some drawing out, and then we're going to let the drawing influence us again. So it's almost like, I like to understand it as a communication with ourselves through the drawing, through like what we create, and then we see it, and then it pings back and forth. So first we want to feel whatever is present. So I would like to invite you to take a deep breath. I need the breath for sure now. And settle down, make yourself comfortable. It's good if you can place your feet on the ground, whatever's available for you right now. If it feels good, you can close your eyes for a moment. And let us take a few deep breaths to start with. And if there's anything that wants to go right now, I invite you to release with sound. Hearing the voice, your own voice, can really be relaxing. So just allowing anything that happened today before this moment to go. Breathing it out, releasing, relaxing yourself. Any thoughts that might drag you into the future, you can release those as well. Settling into yourself, feeling your body, arriving here and now, in this moment, in this place, with 100 people. And just feeling the breath going in and out of your body, allowing your chest to relax, to sink down, allowing your belly to become soft, and the air to go all the way down into your belly, slowing down, bringing a state of calmness, awareness of your inner world. And I invite you to first check in with your body. and just ask, how's my body doing right now? How are you doing? Is there anything that wants to be seen or heard or felt? And without judgment, just being there for a moment. And if there's anything that's holding on or tight, it doesn't need to be tight. You can just see if you can relax a little bit. Soften. Feeling your butt in the chair, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling held and supported. Allowing your shoulders to sink down, your face to relax, releasing your jaw. And just allowing everything to be as it is right now. And then I invite us to check in with our hearts, with our emotions. What feelings are there right now? And again, no judgment, there's no right or wrong. Just being with whatever is right now. Maybe you can name your emotions, or maybe you can't. And that's fine too. And if it's possible, bringing a smile to your face. And just allowing you to feel the smiling energy. And see if maybe your emotions change already, if your body changes already. Breathing in the smile into your heart. And see if you can open, if you can expand, if you can make some space for yourself and for all the emotions that want to be there right now. And taking a few more deep breaths there. And then checking in with your mind, with your thoughts. And just seeing, where did your thoughts go? Are they here with us? Or are they traveling? Are they going to other places? And if that's happening, that's absolutely fine too. We don't have to push anything. We just want to be aware. That's all for now. Aware of our thoughts and our emotions and our body and how they are connected. So if you've been pondering something, just see, how did it influence your emotions or your body? How did the smile influence your thought? And just checking in and being with it for a moment. And breathing deeply again. And if you want to, you can release some more. And then I invite you in your inner eye, your inner vision, to bring up this new year in front of you, this new year that we just tip our toes in right now, that we're just starting, just inviting it into your consciousness and see what comes up. Is there an image? Is there a feeling? Are there many different feelings? Is there maybe a body sensation? And can you give this year a smile? Gifting a smile to you the year as it is just starting it with a smile, starting it with loving thought, with good intention, That's what we all want to do. And just being there for a moment and feeling the feelings, hearing the thoughts, listening to the body. And taking one more deep breath there. Then we're going to slowly come back. I invite you to maybe tap your feet on the ground, just making sure that you're in your body. You can move your hips a little bit, or your feet a little bit, or your fingers. Just making sure that you are in here and not drifting away to somewhere else. And then I invite you to bring your hands together in front of your chest. And we're going to start off with just a moment of gratitude. I want to just say thank you to everyone who's here right now. Thank you for showing up for this. You can say thank you to yourself for showing up for this, being here, and approaching this year in this creative way. And smiling again. And then I invite you to rub your hands together, making them warm and feeling the blood flowing into the hands, feeling the energy, feeling the warmth. And then whenever they feel nice and charged, placing your hands over your eyes for a moment and just breathing into it. Looking into the void, into the darkness there. And I invite you to imagine a connection between your hands and your eyes and your third eye, your inner vision, so that everything that you are creating today is going to be exactly what you need to see. It's going to show you exactly what you need to see about this year, new year, and how you can start into it. Just taking a deep breath there. And then you can very gently start rubbing your face or just tapping, waking yourself back up. Maybe you want to stroke over your head or bring your hands to your neck or allow them just to go wherever they feel good right now. Waking yourself back up, bringing yourself into the space. I feel more grounded. I hope everybody feels more grounded. So with this, we're going to start creating. So I'm going to switch my camera and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we're going to start with the optional item. And I did not find my tape right now, but you can also do this with tape. So the reason I'm bringing this in is actually for later in a way. As I said in the beginning before the camera was on, a year is very long and it's pretty much for a tiny, tiny paper like this. Maybe you have bigger paper, then that's fine too. The way I like to work with it is that I glue two pieces of paper together and create a long paper like this. So what I would do is, I'm just gonna demonstrate it. I would glue one edge here, or put a stick, like a scotch tape, a sticky tape there, and then add paper together to create more space. And you can do that many, many times. You could, in theory, I'm just going to throw this out as a theory, do a year where you have 12 pieces of paper and every month is a page. So here, oh, hard to see now with this under it. I have a long paper that goes all the way like this. So as I said, we're probably today not going to go very, very far into that, but I always like to mention that so that people don't get freaked out by having to put everything into this tiny, tiny piece of paper now. So, how does this work? Okay, good. And I'm probably going to start on the left side. There is an idea. I'm not going to call it a rule. I think some people might call it a rule. I'm going to call it an idea in Neurographica that says that we can portray time in a way that goes from left to right. The reason for that, for many of us, is because we're writing from left to right. No, our writing starts here and goes this way. So this is how we can understand time. The explanation that I really like for it is that our sun also goes this way. No, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. So we start here and then we go there and then we continue this way into the year. But if you feel that you want to work the other way around and you want to start on the right side and move towards the left and that's the future for you, I'm not going to tell you that's wrong. Because I don't believe in that. My students know that, that most of the things for me are always just possibilities that we have. Okay, so how do we start? Now I had us all feel into the year, and we're going to repeat that with a line. Some of you might be familiar with what we call a neurographic line, and there is a lot to it, but today we're just going to go with how we feel. And we're going to draw a line that is, I like to see it like a river. Now, just like our year might move in different ways, we're just going to have a line move in different ways. I'm just going to start on the left side right here where I start my year, make a little dot and say, okay, here's where I start. And then I'm just going to go over the paper with a line that is like a river. It meanders, it does not repeat itself, it does not have a pattern. And Pavel says we actually guide it to where we don't expect it to go. I like to invite you for this first line to just go wherever it feels it goes. Follow the line. So we're going a little bit off Neurographica because this is not exactly the Neurographic line. But we'll just go with, okay, for me, this year just goes like this. And we don't have to judge any ups and downs as like up or down. We can just imagine we're looking at it from above. No, like you would look at a river from above and it's just going left and right basically. So this doesn't have to mean that this is better than this, just so you know. So that was the first line. And that is just a line of, okay, this is kind of how it feels right now. Now the second line, imagine how you want it to be. And I know that might be a tricky thing to even think of, but if you imagine your perfect year, what would be the line like? What would it be like? Maybe it would be more like a pattern. We of course don't want to make a pattern, but my perfect year may be different than the first one. So they don't have to match. Each line just goes its own way. We're just going to try out different feelings to start with. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. So I invite you to, just play with it. And now the third one, imagine the year goes different than you think, which probably is going to happen. Most of the time we're making our plans and we start to think about how things should be and what we would like, but then life happens. So just feeling into that, like a line where you feel like, oh, it's not as I expect it to be. It's different. You're going with that. And really kind of, you can imagine feeling it in the line. Like if your line wants to go up, why don't you go down? This would be what we call a neurographic line, where we actually work against the stream of our feelings in a way, where we experience the line as almost like a little bit of tension. So we'll do one more like that. where we can kind of tap into the tension that might be there of our ideal and what might turn out to become reality. So just going with that, a line where you feel like it's a little bit out of your comfort zone, I'm going to call it. This might be a good description for it. A line that goes out of your comfort zone. And now we already have quite a river that's going in its own way. Okay, so now after going a little bit into the, maybe it's not going to go exactly as I want. It's probably not what everybody expected. We're going to round a little bit, and I'm just going to very, very quickly demonstrate that in case there's anyone here who has not worked with Neurographica before. For everyone else, we'll round the corners. We're connecting those rivers together because in reality, it's probably going to be a mix of everything. So for anyone who has never done Neurographica, don't worry. We'll make it work. So I imagine I have just 3 lines here for now. What we do is we work with those little intersections. Everywhere where 2 lines intersects, we make a little X, or a little X is automatically formed. What we do is we go into this shape and make it a connection point instead of an X. We round the corners and make it like this. So the way I like to imagine that is that I imagine driving around this road here and then just go around the corner and I just smooth out everything. I like to go over lines again because that makes it softer. So you see I'm kind of moving into the line a little bit, or if there's a shape between the lines, I make it a round shape. And then I kind of color in the edges. And just want to say this does not have to be perfect. Again, just like life is not going to be perfect, our drawings don't have to be perfect. Even for us to imagine the best possible year, our lives don't have to be perfect. They probably won't be. So the drawing doesn't have to be. Okay, so we're gonna just go. And as I said, like I now actually drew onto the 2 pages. I'm probably not even gonna round the whole 2 pages. I'm just gonna start in the beginning. You can start wherever you feel drawn to. So if you kind of want to start with one particular little corner somewhere, just go for it. In general, I like to say your intuition rules. So if you feel like you want to do something that I don't say here, go for it. This is not an official class where there is, of course, a right or wrong sometimes. This is an exploration and it should be fun. So I just want to give everyone the permission here to be playful and to trust your intuition. So if something comes up for you in this process and you feel like you want to add an element that I didn't mention, or you want to do something different with the colors later or something like this, go with whatever you feel like. I like to offer this Neurographica process as an offering, or as a suggestion, as a process that you can try on. But the most important thing is to listen to yourself. So I'm just going to quiet down for a moment so that you can actually listen to yourself as you do these connections, as you do this rounding. And we're just going to do that for like 5 minutes or so. And I invite you to check in with yourself, being present with your body, with your emotions, with any thoughts that come up, with any confusion that's happening right now. It's all invited. And I invite you to just be present with it and to feel it. and to breathe. And yes, I did use both pages now. Sorry, I'm just getting to the questions here. Oh, and if you don't feel like they start on the same point, you don't have to do that. For me, they kind of started all on the same point because this is a point where I am now, and I'm kind of looking at where I'm going from here. But yeah, if you want to add a line that starts at a different point, you can absolutely experiment with that and see what that does, where that takes you. I'm just inviting you to slow down. There's nowhere to go right now. Just being here now with yourself and with your lines. And inviting everyone to breathe. Just a reminder. And yeah, I'm working a little bit into my second paper. But I think still not going to be enough space for the entire year, but maybe for all of springtime. Let's see. Okay, there's another question. Did we draw these lines holding where 2025 might go? So we did draw different lines that embody different feelings of 2025. One would be where we would like to go, what we would like it to feel. So like a kind of, I would call it a comfort line. One would be the ideal, most amazing, wonderful line. One would be the, oh, what if things happen that I didn't plan for line. And one would be the line where I stretch my comfort zone and I go beyond what I think it should be. So I hope that makes sense. And you can even, like kind of try out other, like if you have other ideas or feelings, you could add a different line. So it's not really what it looks like. It's more about what the line feels like. That's where we're going. I hope that makes sense for everyone. Okay. Oh, you accidentally drew 2024. Well, maybe, something needs to be needs to be revisited there. That's also a possibility. Or you can just put the next piece of paper on it and continue into 2025. That would also be an option. Okay, so I know that not everybody's probably going to be finished with all the rounding, but that's okay. You can always come back to it. We're going to actually round more throughout the drawing over and over and over again, so don't worry if your drawing is not perfectly rounded. Now, we're going to, of course, ask ourselves, what are some things that are going to happen? And we can kind of start with the near future. maybe we'll look at just like the first 3 months or so where we know that some things might happen. And then, as I said, you may spend time and look deeper into the future by yourself if you feel like it. Or, you can just pick out the big things. So kind of the highlights, I'm going to say. For me, my highlights are, of course, first of all, my classes. So I have a few classes planned already. Now I can imagine, where are they here? What we can do, and that's again, like, this class is full of options, so don't be don't be overwhelmed by all the options. We can create time sections where we're like, okay, half a page is 1 month, or like a quarter of a page is 1 month, or like half a page might be the first 3 months. You can do something like this. I'm gonna probably go with my first page is like maybe the first 3 months. That kind of feels good. So for my entire year, I would have 4 pieces of paper in the end. And now I might go all the way to the half year. The lines didn't cross as much as usual. That's the great thing about there is no usual. So 2025 is going to be all new. Okay. So I'm going to imagine, okay, like a third of this first piece of paper is like more or less 1 month. So my January is kind of here, my February is kind of here, my March is kind of here. And it's interesting because there are things like at the end of January, for example, I have my 9th wedding anniversary, which is definitely something that I want to put into here. And throughout January, I have my first classes. So I'm going to put circles for them, and they can be anywhere. So they of course want to touch one of the lines somewhere. It doesn't matter which line it was. So now, all of this is one. Now we don't have to worry about if it was the line that expands my comfort zone, or if it's the line that is the perfect year. It's just what it is right now. So I'm going to say, okay, first I have, I think 3 classes. So I'm going to just go with, here's 1 class, and draw a circle there. And here's 1 class, and they can have more or less the same size. And then here's 1 class. And then I have my anniversary, which is going to be a big one up here, because that is something wonderful that I'm looking forward to. I don't know if we're actually going to do something, but still it's like a special date for me. I'm going to put this here. And so it doesn't really matter if it aligns exactly time-wise, if this is exactly a week. Doesn't matter. Just find some space for it. Find the places where your important events are happening. And then I have one event that is always important but very, very hard for me, and that is the anniversary of my first baby's death, which is going to be here. It overlaps with my wedding anniversary. So the year will not only bring great things, and I already know that. And I'm bringing this up because I know that some people might look into difficult things. Exactly. You put difficult things too. Yeah, thank you, Jenny, for the question. That's exactly where I'm going right now. And what you draw if you don't have specific plans, I think like things that you look forward to, or things that you want. Things that you kind of imagine. I mean, we're here imagining. So you can imagine, oh, I would like something. And maybe you just see a space somewhere where it looks like there should be a circle there. And then you just draw the circle there and ask yourself later, oh, what might that be? So that's also an option. So we can look at that from many different sides. We can go with the things that are already there, but we can also look at things that might just show up in the drawing. For me, for example, here is like an interesting area, and I think that there's something there. I don't exactly know what it's going to be, but I'm going to go with that. So one more option is to, of course, write into the circles if you have something that is nameable. I'm going to write 10th anniversary. I'm going to write my son's name. I'm going to write class. And then I go from there. And I'm just going to do this for the first page now, which is basically the first few months. And maybe I do here one for Valentine's just for fun. And then of course there's also classes here. And I can already see that my classes and my things that just happen in life, they will overlap. So maybe there's going to be one class where I will feel a little bit different because it overlaps with the time where I'm actually mourning a little bit. And that's okay. And then here, as I said, there's something there. I'm not 100% sure what it is. What I also like to do is just allow my hand to draw the circle. Sometimes, or very often actually, the circles go way bigger than I think. And then I wonder, what might this be? And then there might be small things in the big circles. So we're just kind of creating a landscape here. And some of them, again, I can name. Maybe not all of them I can name. And if I ask myself, no, I just asked myself about this big circle and I had the idea what it could be. So I'm just going to write that. And then, as I said, I'm probably going to go just the first 3 months for now. And then we'll see how far we get into the future. And I just have a bunch of classes that I'm already planning. And I actually hope that maybe we're going to have guests as well. See. So if there's something that you hope for, you can also, of course, draw a circle there. Wow, and there's apparently a big, big hope there. This might be my brother visiting. We'll see. And one more thing for those people that are very familiar with Neurographica and that have done the Algorithm 2 course, and I really want to just tell that to anyone who did do the course, you can also add other shapes. So you can also work with triangles and squares, but I recommend that if you're familiar with it, if you know how to work with it, because I'm not going to be able to introduce a whole lot about that. But that's an option, of course. Okay, and I kind of feel that there's some empty space here. So I'm going to just add something here where I have space for something else. And I don't have to know what that is. Okay, so now we have all these different things that some of them I know are happening, some of them I'm looking forward to, some of them I'm wondering what they might be. And now, of course, we want to round again. Before we do that, though, I want to just demonstrate how you can deal with difficult things. So, yeah, it does happen that circles just show themselves. Exactly, Marinda. Perfect. Go with it. If something shows itself, you can, just ask your subconscious, what might that be? And maybe there's going to be an answer. And maybe the answer is going to come in the moment where it happens. Or, for me, it's often like if I ask myself, what might that be? The answer is already lingering inside of me and I just have to listen. But yeah, I wanted to share an option of dealing with the difficult ones. Like I have the beginning of February, a very, very difficult moment for me every year. And we can use a catharsis to work with that. There's one more question I want to answer. If there is no line there, I would not add a circle. if you feel like you want to add a circle somewhere where there's no line, add the circle and then bring a line there, connect it to the rest of the lines. So I'm going to maybe demonstrate that here. If I feel like, oh, there should be something here, I can do that. And then go from a line that's already there and connect the circle. We don't want any circle to just float in space. Everything needs to be connected with lines. This is how Neurographica works. So I hope that makes sense. And if you want space, we can create more space with colors. So don't feel overwhelmed if like everything's full. When we color, you can leave spaces white and that makes space again. Okay, but now how to do a catharsis. So I would do a tiny little, we call it catharsis. I like to also call it is just an expression of how I feel inside. And I just take my pen and take a deep breath and go for like 1 second in a small space like this. I would literally do it just for 1 second like this. Scribble and express the energy. And then I round that. So I have like this little extra scribble here because there's a lot of emotions for me here. And then I round that and connect it to the rest. So what we're going to do now is just round and connect all these circles into the web of all our lines. So connecting all the things that may or may not happen in the year with our timeline, I'm going to call it, because this can be a way to work with timelines. So you would just go around each circle and everywhere where there's connections or where the lines cross, just rounding them out again. And then if I put a catharsis, if I put like this little expression of emotions into a circle, then this circle will change. And it will probably be a little bit fuller than other circles because there's more happening there. So that is then just an expression of that I need to maybe take more care of myself there. So when I look at my year, I'm going to see that there's a lot happening there already. And that means that maybe I'm not going to make a whole lot of other plans around here. So we can literally use it like that. You know, if there's difficult things showing up, then it allows us to make space for that. So, and I'm going to focus on this one first because I feel that it needs attention first. So you can just go and see which ones of your circles might need extra attention. And then just integrate them, round them, make them part of the flow of your year. And just taking a few deep breaths in between, reminding everyone to breathe, to check in with yourself, and just sinking into this process, allowing all the feelings, all the emotions, all the thoughts without getting stuck in them. Really making this a meditation for you to just be with the things that may or may not happen next year. Sorry, I just heard my baby scream in the background. Ooh, okay. Hmm. So we're just going to do that for a few moments, a few minutes. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's all just about kind of feeling it, feeling the feelings that are there right now. I feel better about this. And it looks kind of beautiful too. Your catharsis scribble looks weird. That is absolutely normal, Chelsea. Don't worry about that. And ask yourself what's weird about it. I mean, everything that's happening can potentially have a message. So just asking yourself and allowing your subconscious to come up with ideas why this might feel weird to you. And again, breathing, coming back to yourself. We're going to give it another, maybe 2-3 minutes. And again, no stress. It doesn't have to be everything. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to come back to rounding again. Always coming back to it again. And you can also, even when your drawing is finished, quote unquote, you can always still go back in and round a little bit more. So don't stress yourself if you can't make everything as smooth and beautiful as you want it right now. I'm going to go a little bit more. A year is a very long time. And it might even be that, you kind of leave the drawing at like just portraying the first few months, and then maybe in 2 months you sit back down and vision some more. That's also possible. We don't have to see it all at once, even though we can. Like with a drawing like that, we can see it all at once, which is kind of cool. But we don't have to create it all at once. We can create this in stages too. So just want to give everyone permission to take your time with this. And if you feel like you need more lines, draw more lines. Absolutely. That's the point where I said, trust yourself. You feel that there needs to be something above or below or beyond whatever you see right now, then create that. This is the point where we are the creators of our lives. And if we feel that we need something, then we pay attention. And in the drawing, we can create that. That is what I love about the drawing. The magic of the drawing is that it's actually very easy for us to create whatever we need. And then, of course, when you feel like you need more lines or more circles somewhere, or circles that are kind of outside of those lines that we drew in the beginning, you can ask yourself, what does that mean? Know what kind of intention is behind the new lines. What energy do they carry? Do they have to do something with energy that comes from the outside, maybe? Or is this a reaction to something? And just opening your mind to it, allowing your subconscious to tell you the story that's in those lines, or in those circles, or in those elements that you are adding to the drawing. And thank you for sharing that. Really love all the comments. And okay, we're going to continue in just a second. I feel like I want to connect all these little things here still. I'm pretty sure everyone else is still rounding too, so we'll give it one more minute. And of course, with every single element that we add to this drawing is changing. And there again, we can kind of think about our year, our life. Every single little thing that we add to our life is changing it. Every time we show up for class, for example, and create, that can have a ripple effect that goes into the rest of our day, of our life. Kind of like that, just as a metaphor for how the drawing can actually, in a way, portray what's happening in our life. Okay. Now, we have already worked with something that was a little bit difficult, and you may or may not have something like that in your drawing. There might also be some things that may feel challenging in different ways. Not everything that's challenging needs a catharsis. Some things might just feel big. Like I'm rounding right now at a circle that's kind of big. I'm not 100% sure what it is yet. It just feels kind of big. So if there's something where we feel, ooh, this is kind of stretching my comfort zone, this might be uncomfortable, or we have something like I have with the catharsis, the next question that I want to invite us to ask is, what do I need there? What do I need to get through this moment with grace, with ease, in a way that feels good for me? Can I call in support? That is the next question. And I have some space on the top and the bottom. So here is where I'm going to add support. For me, I'm definitely going to add some support here, and I'm just going to draw circles for support. And I don't exactly have to know who's going to be it or what's going to happen there. I just know that I'm going to need some support. And then I'm going to draw a line from the edge of the paper through my support to the circle that needs it. So first I draw a support circle, or 2 or 3, or however many I need. And then I draw a line from the edge of the paper through the support to the circle that needs the support. And as I said, that can be, of course, a difficult situation. It can also be something where I just stretch my comfort zone. So I have, for example, this big circle here that I identify as I'm going to start teaching a new algorithm that I haven't taught before. And I definitely feel that I want support there. And if the support is just me spending more time, studying a little bit, being more prepared, or if the support is really kind of asking someone for support, whatever it is, like it can be anything basically. We just want to make space for it. So here I'm just going to say, okay, there, and these for some reason feel like several little ones that are supporting me there. And then again, I draw lines from the edge of the paper, from the world outside of me, into this circle through the circles that are supporting me. Calling in the support that I need. So here is really a moment where we can ask the very, very important question, what do I need in these moments? And then some of them, they may not need an extra support circle, but they may still want to be connected. So what we can do as well is just draw lines from the edge of the paper into the circles where we feel like they want to be connected. Like my courses, for example, I want to, of course, connect to the world. I want to connect to students. I want people to show up. So I'm going to draw that into my drawing. I'm going to say here, make from the edge into these circles lines that I don't exactly define who's coming, how many people are coming, what they're doing, if they're good students or not. I'm just saying in my mind that I want a connection to the outside world in these moments, in these classes. I'm going to draw as many as feels good to me. And then, of course, I'm going to round some more. I'm going to check out the questions. Is it okay if a circle goes off the paper? Thank you so much for this question. Yes, it's absolutely okay. What that represents is basically up to you. I can tell you how I interpret that for myself, but it's not like this always means that kind of interpretation. For me, when a circle goes off the edge of the paper, it means that right now, I cannot see the whole. Right now, where I am right now, my perspective that I have at this moment, I can only see part of the whole, basically. I can only see part of the story. And then, if I want to really, really look at it, and if I want to spend some time with it, and I want to dive deeper into that, I can glue another piece of paper on that corner and continue the circle and actually look at it. So that is I love that. That's a cool way of working with that. But just for anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about, for example, I can imagine that I'm going to just say here, there's a support circle here. And I'm just going to say it's there. And I don't exactly know what it is or when it's going to come, when I'm going to be ready to see it all, but I know it's there. I know that there's something beyond what I'm able to perceive right now. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, thank you for the question. Very awesome question. And then, of course, I want to connect that one too. And I want to create some more connections to different circles here. I definitely want to connect all my class circles because it's important for me to not sit all by myself, but actually have people in there with me, and they are somehow all connected to this big circle that I now drew here. So interesting. Unexpected. Definitely unexpected here. So yeah, lines can go to the top, they can go to the bottom. We can also stretch out from the circle out, but I like to kind of call the energy in. So this maybe as a last comment to that. So whenever I start the line on the edge of the paper and draw it towards the circle, I mean that I'm calling in this support. I'm calling in the connection. When I start in the circle and I'm drawing it out, it means that I am creating connection out. No, I'm kind of shining my light out, or I'm stretching my hands out. I am connecting outside. So one is kind of drawing in and one's kind of bringing the energy out. I hope that makes sense. Maybe do this. Here's one. And if you have a spot that kind of just feels empty and you feel like there needs to be a line there, then draw the line and just feel into it and ask yourself, what does that line mean to me? Or what does it represent? And as I always say, It's not about finding the right answer. It's just about opening yourself to whatever your intuition can tell you right now. Okay, and now I'm gonna just be quiet for another 5 minutes, and we're gonna round some more. It's gonna be the last little session of rounding before we go into color. We'll just do that 5 minutes. And again, of course, you know, these drawings can take longer than we have right now. So it can maybe, you know, see it as just a first sketch of it. A first sketch of the year ahead. And even a short, imperfect drawing can absolutely have the insight that we need. This is why I always mention that in the beginning, that my intention is for you to see whatever you're ready to see right now, whatever you need to see right now. And one more reminder to breathe and connect to yourself. Whenever I connect to these circles that represent things that I may need or that I may call in to support me, whenever I round those, I like to really settle into the feeling of it. Imagine feeling connected, feeling supported, and then asking myself, what is it? And what will make me feel this way? It's interesting then what comes up. Know what your mind, your inner voice, your body, your emotions say. So really this is a practice of listening. And yes, it is absolutely possible to do this as a start of the week. Yeah, you can apply this same process to however long of a time period you want. Yeah, absolutely. You can play with that. And if you want to learn it in depth, of course, the Neuro Timeline course would be the one that introduces all of this and how we can make plans with Neurographica, much more detailed and much more structured than we're doing it right now. If you want to really, really dive deep into that, there's a whole course about it. But yeah, I like to just play with it in different ways. Okay, we get one more minute. Last minute, TikTok. And now the drawing is probably more full, even more full. So if you needed space, then you may actually want to glue another piece of paper on there. That's also a way to create more space. Just give yourself more space. And then ask yourself, how can I do that in my life? What might this extra piece of paper represent? Or is it maybe a lock on my door? To give myself space in life. So I like to really, every question or every thought that comes up in the drawing, I like to ask, how does that translate into our lives? And that's when we can have really nice insights. Okay, so now we're going to move into a little bit of color. The way I like to start color in Neurographica in general is I have my crazy box of pencils and I just grab the pencil that calls my attention. So I'm kind of just looking at my pencil box and I'm very chaotic a little bit with that, but I like it that way. I think I would like think about it much more and try to choose the right color. And the way I set up my thing, I'm going to show it to you. I set it up like this. So I just look at this box and I think, okay, which one is it? And I just grab it. So for me, if it's not completely organized and sorted, actually helps me to overcome my overthinking mind. So I'm just going to grab this nice little red one, or I feel a color inside of me. Or if you absolutely don't know what color to choose, I always say, choose the color that makes you feel good right now. Choose the color where you're like, oh, this is good. This is how I want to feel right now. Oh, haha, a question. If I draw the lines with my eyes open or closed. I open my eyes when I draw the lines. I open my eyes, and I know this is practice too, that sometimes when people are beginners, it's easier to draw the lines with the eyes closed, but the question is, do you want to live your life with your eyes closed or your eyes open? So I would recommend trying to open your eyes with the lines. Yeah. And as I said, it's practice. Well, I kind of draw lines every day, and then it becomes very easy to draw lines in ways that feel free, I'm gonna say, or that feel like however I want the line to feel in that moment. But yeah, I definitely know this question from students, that for some people it's easier to not get stuck on what it looks like when they close their eyes. And again, this can again already be an insight for you. Like how does that translate into your life? Closing your eyes and moving ahead. Maybe that's a good thing. Okay, so how I start with the color now is I just feel into my drawing and I see where is the red. And I feel down here this circle that's kind of intriguing me ever since I drew the half circle. I'm like, what is this half circle? I will color this one. But there's one more question about you can make more catharsis. No, you can absolutely make as many catharsis as you need. Yeah, so if you have several circles that need a catharsis, I wouldn't make many catharsis on top of each other, because then it really just becomes a mud. So when you make a catharsis, it's more about kind of feeling the feelings of it. And if you feel it's not enough, asking yourself, why do I feel it's not enough? Kind of connecting with it in that way. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And if you want to learn all about the catharsis, you can join my basic course that's starting next week. Just want to mention that. Oh, nice. My brain doesn't seem to work like yours, says Irene. My drawing is neat and organized. That's perfect. That's beautiful. So your year is nice and organized. I love that. Good for you. I am going to color over the black lines. I'm going to color over everything now. And I'm going to start right now. So I'm going to start just with wherever I feel intrigued. And one thing that we don't do in Neurographica is we don't color like we learned it in kindergarten. I learned in kindergarten to never color over the lines and everything has to be neat and nice. And in Neurographica, we can break this pattern. So here, I want to invite us to play with the color. So I would not leave a circle just like this. I would always ask myself, where would the color go from here? So mine already broke out a little bit into this. So of course I'm paying attention to the lines that are there. So I don't act like the lines are not there, but I act like the lines are not going to stop me from moving. The way I understand and like to work with color is energy. And this energy wants to move. So I allow the energy to move through my drawing. And I can always ask myself, where would it go now? And I don't have to completely color everything in. I can also just like kind of shade into a space a little bit. You'll kind of see, okay, there's maybe a little bit of red in there, but it's not completely red. And this is maybe a stronger red. I really love colored pencils because you can layer so well. You can just go over spaces again and again and again with the same color, making it stronger, or with a different color kind of layering it. And I just follow the color until it feels that that's where it goes. So you see, I started with one circle, but I didn't stay with just a one circle. The color is literally almost like I'm pouring the color into it and it's kind of flowing through my lines. So I'm kind of allowing the color to move. I hope that makes sense. And I just, want to invite you to play with that. Like one of the actual rules, state one rule of Neurographica, is that we don't color just one segment. We color at least a few segments. Some people say it has to be 3. Some people say it has to be 5. I think it doesn't really make sense to make a number because some segments are tiny, some segments are big. I like to do it in a way where I just want the color to be a moving energy in my drawing. And yeah, it's interesting because now I see that from this half circle that I can't really see what it is right now, there's an energy moving into this space and it is then really like following my year, following my timeline in a way. And creating this kind of red energy that's flowing through here. And I feel like it even goes like further than I have looked right now. So I can, even like start drawing the color a little bit. I don't have circles here yet, but I know that there's going to be more red. And then I can add circles later. So we can also play with that. So even though we have these steps that go 1 through 8, they can vary. The order is not set, not always completely set. Of course, we draw lines and then we round, but it's not like a hard rule that after we draw circles, then we have to color and then we have to do this. We can also color a little bit, go back to drawing more lines and draw another circle and then color some more and then round some more. So yeah, I like to teach Neurographica as like this whole bucket of possibilities that we have instead of regulations. And so we're just going to give this a few minutes because we're already on time. So everyone who has to leave after 90 minutes, I apologize. We're just going to go a little bit over, just a few minutes over. And it's going to be a recording, of course. So let's just do maybe 3 or 4 more minutes of coloring. Sometimes it's really nice to not have a whole lot of time for this so we don't overthink it. That is like one of the things that if we don't have like all day for this, we'll just go with it. And this is how I like to do the color. I just go with it. Just, okay, this is next, this needs to go there, without even thinking about it, without second guessing myself. It can be very helpful to yeah, kind of get out of this mind that tells me, oh, is this good enough? Do the colors fit together? Blah, 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 all this stuff. It doesn't matter. Here it's really about how do I feel the color? How does that feel in my body? And hopefully it feels good. That is, for me, most of the time the goal of the color. I want this to feel good. Sometimes I also work with just basically using the color for naming. Kind of what does it feel like and what color is that? So if I feel sad, it would have a different color. But here now I'm just going to go with bringing in the color as an element of energy. And that's the energy I want to feel. And we can, of course, spend a lot of time with that and make it all beautiful and nice and neat. And of course, one of the goals at the end is that you feel good about it. For whatever reason. Now, of course, it can be that it's very aesthetic to you. It can also just be that you had a nice idea. You had a thought that kind of was important for you to think. So it is, of course, an aesthetic practice, an aesthetic method, but it is about things that are beyond that. It doesn't stop with the beauty. Even though, of course, Pavis says, you know, beauty is going to be what makes us go about it in a way. Oh, what gives us the energy to actually get up and make it happen. Because envisioning and visualizing is not creating our life, really. Getting up and living the life is creating our life. And there's another question. I have 2 circles with similar topic, new job or old job. Can I draw a catharsis over both of them? That is a great idea. Yes, I would say do that. That sounds amazing. Nice. Wow, see, someone is really solving some questions there. That's great. I love that you even put both of them. And yes, then see how they change when you put the catharsis in. Okay, so I absolutely want to color for another hour probably. But I am going to stop right here just so that we can complete the drawing, at least for the video. And so that everyone knows what to do whenever you're ready to complete yours. And again, no stress about that. As you see, my drawing is absolutely not finished. But there is some color in it now, and I really, really like the color. So now we're going to draw one more line. And I like to draw this line with a pen that's thicker than the one that I use. I have this nice brush pen that I really, really love. You can also use it with this, draw it with the same pen and then just go over it several times. So what I will do now is draw a line that again taps into the ideal, the perfect, the best, the year where I feel guided. Like this last line, we often connect it to a higher power. So you can imagine, okay, you know, I like worked through all my stuff here, and I brought in like I thought about some things, and I brought in some support that I need, and now I'm gonna say, okay, universe, now you take over. And I'm gonna just, I really, this might be an interesting one to actually do with eyes closed even. You could experiment with that and see how that feels. I like to just look. um, because that's also how I go through life. I gotta look at all the stuff, no matter what. And so I'm gonna go through it, and it doesn't matter if I touch all the single little circles. I want to touch the most important ones. So probably there's some circles that for you kind of came out to be more important than others. I have a few big ones here, and I definitely want to touch those. I don't have to touch all of these small ones on the side, but I want to touch the big ones. So I'm just going to go and draw a completely new line. And I like to kind of slow down with that one too. We want to imagine that it is a river of energy that is flowing through, that is infusing my drawing and my life with an energy that is bringing in the love from beyond, the power that I need to get through all of this. And whenever I work with that, if I just use a normal pen, I go way in back. So I will go into the future, and then I would draw the line backwards and go over it again from the future to the now moment. I really like to kind of imagine that as well. I've kind of looked into the future, and now I bring this energy back into the moment. And as you see, like with the brush pen, it creates this really nice, like thicker line. So if you don't have a thicker pen, like you could also use one that has a slightly different color. If you work with color, I wouldn't do one that has a completely different color, because we do want to integrate it as well. So what I do now, and you could use a slightly different color just so that you see it better, so that it's more obvious. You could also go along the line with the color. I could like choose one pencil and just go along the line to make it stand out more. Those are all options again. Like the class of options today. And now I just breathe deeply one more time and integrate this line. And I would usually spend a good bit of time with that, because this line is important. I feel it's always important. I want to feel this connection to a power that's higher than me, whatever that is for you, however you name it. And just inviting that in a way into my drawing, inviting this luck and guidance and support that goes beyond what I can even imagine. Well, that kind of goes beyond my imagination, and like sometimes this line can really change the look of the drawing too, which that is something to pay attention to, and kind of to ask yourself, how do you feel about that? And if you have complicated feelings about that, kind of asking yourself, why is that? And just inquiring. It's all, in a way, a self-inquiry, a practice of, asking ourselves what we really need and how we can support ourselves in this life. Okay, so one more option, one last option that I'm actually not going to do probably, is that we can choose a first thing to focus on. And this in a drawing like that would probably be a circle that's kind of like in the front there. If I had a circle, or maybe it's actually for me, it's this one, now kind of thinking about it. Okay, so I do have one apparently. Now that I put up the question, what is like an event that is the most important for me right now? And I say right now because, of course, it's not going to be the most important one for all year. But right now, I can ask myself, what is the thing that I really want to focus on, want to focus my energy on for the beginning of this year? And for me, it's this starting the new course, all the things that I have to prepare for that, all the things that I still want to kind of look into to feel good about teaching that. So I will, oh, now I have an idea what this one means. Perfect. So whenever I start with that, then the ideas come. So just allowing yourself to ask the question, what is my next step? What is the thing that's kind of like the most important one for me to focus on right now? And I am going to make this bigger, and I go again with my brush pen. You can just go around it several times with your pen and make it stand out so that when I look at this drawing now, I see this circle. So if you continue the drawing later into the next month, then it's going to be okay to have several thicker things stand out. Then you could even, like, as I said in the beginning, do like one paper per month, and then you have 12 circles that stand out, which would be your 12 focus points for the year. Or maybe every half a year there's something important going on, or if you did that for a week, of course you would kind of set in a focus for the week or for the day even. So you can use this process in many, many different ways. So I hope that this was interesting and relaxing also, maybe, and insightful for everyone. I'm just going to say a few last words for the video. Thank you to anyone who's watching this recording. If you want to learn this method in depth, then I recommend starting with the Neurographica Basics course, which starts in a week from now, the live course. And usually I have recorded courses too, so if you find this video someday in the future, just check out my website, then you can find all the courses. And there we will work, especially with the catharsis that I just introduced, like very, very small here. That will be the focus of that course, to work with that in many different ways and some other things. And of course, it just very in-depth introduction to the method, the theory of the method, the how it works and why it works, and all the ideas that are kind of behind it. So if you're interested in that, would love to see you. And yes, of course, everybody gets the replay. I'm going to send out the replay. Can you add another thick line? Good question. Well, that is a good question now. In theory, always yes. Now the question would be, what does that second thick line represent to you? So that would be, just a question that I would kind of throw at you, if you want to add a second line. Why do you want a second line? Do you want like a second option of the year going another way? Or do you just feel you want to invite more support from the divine? Yeah. I think, like, for me, the why is always more important than the rule if you can do or can't do it. We're all artists. We can do whatever we want. In Neurographica, the question is just always, why are we doing it? Oh, okay. Loredana says, I'm coloring in a lot of space, but I feel like stopping and splitting that space with a line. Yes, you can absolutely do that. You can definitely, if, as I said, you color, you feel like it needs something else, stop, do the other thing, add the line, add the circle, color some more. Absolutely. Okay, I think I got most of the questions. I hope I didn't forget any questions now. Thank you, everyone. A meaning in smudges. Interesting. Yeah. Well, with the meaning is always like the meaning that you give it. So meaning in the drawing in general will always be your meaning. Of course, I can tell you what I think about it, but that might or might not resonate. With smudges, it's like an interesting one because it's like something unexpected happens. And now the question is, what do we do with it? How does our mind, and smudges probably, especially the mind, is going to tell you, oh no, there's a smudge. Oh no, what shall I do now? So this, I would always ask you, how does that reflect into your life? When something unexpected happens, how do you react? So this is more, than, okay, what am I going to do in the drawing with it? It's more the question, what do you do in life with it? When something happens where you're like, I didn't want this to happen, and, what am I going to do with it now? Do you find a creative solution for yourself, or do you break down, basically? Or, do you kind of beat yourself up or blah, 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 whatever happens inside. So that would be how we bring meaning into that, how we interpret that. It would be like looking at what's happening inside of you and then seeing, okay, do I want to act like that? And can I change that somehow? Or, what do I need there? Do I maybe just put it in a frame, like the kintsugi, I think it's called, like the Japanese art of making broken things beautiful. We can make a smudge beautiful. Absolutely. We can like highlight it in the drawing even if we want to. We can give it a color. We can play with it. So the question is more, what do you do with it? Um, ah, okay, that's an interesting one. I think I lost my way while thickening the line. Now I have two. I'm thinking of it as extra support. Ta-da! Exactly. And with all of these things, it's really about learning and listening to how do I actually think. Like Neurographica can bring up so many things from our subconscious and so many little things, and that's why like the basics course, for example, we start with like the kind of ugliness with the drawings that you might not like right away, and that is to look deeper into it. It is the practice of looking deeper, of looking beyond the drawing and really seeing everything that happens in the drawing process. If my pen doesn't work, which I had my few last drawings, my pen would not work and I would be like, no. And then I would be like, okay, wait, like, what does that mean for me now? And what am I doing? And how am I reacting? And can I take a deep breath? So it's like coming into this mindfulness, and really all about reflecting on ourselves, reflecting on our reactions. So it helps us to see this reaction, to hear the thoughts, to feel the feelings. And that is for me the important thing. And that is what we really, really go into. Oh, it's not clear on my website. Thank you for telling me that. So apparently it's not clear on my website. If you pay for the online classes, you get the live sessions, you get everything. When you go to my website, it is supposed to tell you that the course includes all the recordings of all the past classes and of all the future classes and the live classes. So you can start with the live classes now. You can look back at previous classes. You can, whenever I teach the next live class, which usually I try to do it like twice a year, you can tap into that again too. So you can repeat it as often as you want. Also, I'm doing that because every now and then Pav is adding more stuff to it or like changing little things. So yeah, just so that we all stay up to date. You have access to everything that's mentioned. There's like a list somewhere of all the stuff that's included. So thank you for the question. Well, I'm glad that this is a nice Saturday evening for you. Beautiful. And thank you, everyone. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I'm glad that this resonated with you. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm just gonna say goodbye to everyone who's watching the video and turn off the video. And if you find this video on YouTube, please like, subscribe, do the whole thing. Help my channel out. Thank you. Stop.